Hi, I'm Micah Clark with the American Family Association of Indiana. I want to talk to you today about the first week of the General Assembly where we saw some action and a couple bills that I've mentioned in my email this week. On Wednesday afternoon, the Senate Judiciary Committee met to discuss and vote on Senate Bill 143. We talked about this last week because they had a committee hearing. This week was simply amendments and a vote in the committee. Oftentimes committees will take testimony one week and they'll vote on it the next week. Not all of them, it's up to the chairman. A lot of times they'll take testimony and vote a bill right out there on the floor when they have the committee hearing. But many committees will, especially on deeper bills, they'll take it, testimony, they'll consider it, come back with some changes if they want to make amendments. And that was the case with Senate Bill 143, which is a parental rights bill we've talked about. Now, Senate Bill 143 is fairly similar to where it was last week. There was an amendment offered with 3 or 4 changes in it. None of those were things we disagreed with. One was for the Defense Association, their lobby group, not a really big deal. One concerned police officer investigations of parents. We were fine with that, maybe tighten that up a little bit. The other was one that I think was offered by the author of the bill. I'm not sure it was really what her original intent was to do. She noted that the original language was taken straight from the U.S. Supreme Court on compelling interest in parental rights. But she clarified that a little bit in the bill. I actually think that could make it more narrow than I would like it for protecting parents. But the bill is very good. It's still worth moving forward. And they passed it with a strong vote of 9-2, picked up a couple Democrat support on it. I kind of expected one, not the other. But the bill has strong bipartisan support. And we will see what the next step is, which is second readings or the amendment stage. So it will go to the floor next week, and we'll see what amendments are offered to it and what the Senate does with it. My guess is there'll be some amendments offered, and then the bill will move on to third reading, which is the final vote. And then in February or close to March, it'll go over to the House. So another bill that I wanted to mention in that same hearing, Senate Bill 11, and I don't think I've talked about this a whole lot. It's one I would encourage you to look at. It requires parental permission for kids under the age of, I think, 16 or 14 to use social media. And many parents are concerned about the impact of social media on children, particularly mental health of children. So it's simply a tool parents can use. There have been a lot of changes to the introduced version. You should have a version up probably today, if not today or Monday, with the amendments that were added when the bill was voted out on Wednesday as well. That's Senate Bill 11. You can look at that. Click on the latest version at the government IGA website, General Assembly website, and that should show you a second version that was amended in committee with some changes if you're interested in that bill. Another thing that happened this week that was not related to the legislature but to the executive office with newly elected, newly sworn in, our new governor, Governor Mike Braun, passed an executive order eliminating DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, in state government with state employees. No state employee can be required to attend a diversity, equity, inclusion train anymore. It also eliminated an office for that Office of DEI that Governor Holcomb created. He also made it a cabinet level position, paid the lady in there, I think, over $100,000. Governor Braun wiped that out, said we don't need to do that. It's a waste of taxpayer funds. It's divisive. And so kudos to him for that executive order on Wednesday. I know many of you were concerned about that when that came up a few years ago in both legislation and with Governor Holcomb's action in that direction. Another bill I want to mention, I'll just close with this, is a bill that I've not talked about. I talked about a bill last week in my email, and the week before even, on Senate Bill 91. That's an anti-grooming bill. I'd really like to see support for that bill. I'd like to see that bill move. But we've got over 800 bills we're looking at. It's very hard to tell what will and won't move. Again, out of all those bills, we may only see 200 see action that make it to the governor's office. So it's very hard to get a bill going. But Senate Bill 91 is one you might want to check out. It's simply one line that makes grooming of a child, preparing them for sexual behavior or activity, a crime. It's a good bill. I'd love to see that up there. I'd love to see who would vote against that bill. But another bill, kind of along those same lines, it's something we've dealt with a lot over the last few years here at AFA of Indiana, is House Bill 1195. This is a very good bill. It has 3 authors, Dave Abbott, Joanna King, and Martin Carbaugh. It concerns pornographic material in schools. It requires the governing body of a school or a charter school to address a parent's concern about lewd material with graphic images depicting certain things. And I won't even read what's in this. It might shock you, but they unfortunately had to list what this entails so that it's not just some racy picture. It's actually sexual activity in books and pictures that doesn't belong in schools for children. So it requires a school to investigate a parent's complaint on this and to take action on it, and if deemed pornographic or lewd or matter harmful to minors, to remove that from the school. So this is also kind of a parental rights bill. It requires the school to act when the parent has a concern like this, and it's something I think is a very good bill. That's House Bill 1195. It's been assigned to the House Education Committee. They have a lot of bills. I don't know if the chairman will hear this. That's why your phone calls are so important to support, in this case, House Bill 1195 on pornographic materials in schools. So I encourage you to look at that. That will be in my email next week where I talk a little bit more about that. But that is House Bill 1195. And then we also discussed Senate Bill 143 on parental rights and Senate Bill 11 on parent oversight of social media for minor children. So those are the types of things we've seen so far. Lots of good bills out there. Of course, lots of bad ones too that we don't want to see action on. But I just wanted to give you kind of a snippet of what happened this week. So far next week, committee hearings have not been posted for the Senate yet. I haven't seen much in the House that we're watching, but these things can always pop up within 24 or 48 hours. And we will try and stay on top of what happens at the General Assembly and be your voice for values, faith, and freedom in your state government. So I'm Micah Clark. Thank you for joining us today, and have a great weekend.